guys, welcome back to Blind Streak Exotics. We are here in the first week of January, and we have our first clutch of the season. Now, this is probably going to be the first clutch for a while because I really haven't started pairing anybody up yet. A lot of the males that I'm going into this year, and some of the females, aren't up to the size I want them to be yet for breeding. However, this pairing, which was Tesla, who is a Purple Passion Blackhead Leopard male, he has been actually breeding to this Mystic Special female pretty much for 12 months. I started breeding him to Princess, Crystal here, and Snow White Snake at the start of last season, and Snow White Snake was the first of the three of them to actually become gravid and lay eggs, and her clutch hatched back in, I think, mid-October. Which was, close to 6 months ago at this point, from the time that she actually laid her eggs. Princess still has not become gravid yet. I haven't seen her ovulate, and they've been paired for 12 months. This female obviously just had her pre-lay shed about 30 days ago, so the beginning of December. So it took them a good probably 10, 11 months from the time I started pairing them up for her to actually become gravid. So, don't stop pairing your snakes. If you're not seeing a bunch of, ovulation or locking or anything, just keep pairing them because, like I said, this has been almost a full year of pairing these guys, and Princess still isn't, looking like she's ovulating or even gravid at this point. So, and these are actually first-time moms as well, so it just takes a long time. I've had snakes that within the first week of being paired up, they were laying eggs for me, or locking up for me, and they became gravid rather quickly. I think I started pairing last year, 12 months ago, 13 months ago, I think, in maybe December 1st of 2020, and I had my first clutch dropped within 3 months. This one took 12 months, so you never know, just keep pairing them up, and hopefully they get some eggs for you. Now this girl, this is actually her first clutch. I'm thinking she is empty and she's bucking. So what you want to do again is kind of pull the tail off the back. These snakes do tend to get a little kind of feisty with you when you're taking them off their eggs, so you want to be careful of that. These look pretty fresh, and I actually think she may have 2 or 3 more eggs in her. She's still looking kind of lumpy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these eggs out of here that are in here already, put them in here. This one is so fresh that it's like really extremely soft, which you don't actually end up getting too often because they usually have time to kind of harden up. So that one's actually really soft, so I'll actually show that to you guys. Now the fact that I can still see a few kind of lumps in her, I don't know if they'll pull up on camera, but there's kind of probably 1, 2, probably 3 eggs still in her. So I'm going to put her back in here real gently, so I don't want to disturb her too much. Let her get those last 3 eggs out and put her back in the rack here. Now, you guys, I've showed you videos quite a few times before on, collecting eggs and, kind of the procedure of what you do. Typically, when you take the female off the eggs, what you want to do is give that female like a nice soak in like a warm soapy water to kind of get that scent of eggs off of her. And you also want to put her in a fresh, clean tub, and that kind of gets rid of any scent of those eggs and allows her to get back on the food a little more quickly. So after she gets those next 3 eggs out, that's what we're going to do. But right now, this is her first clutch, and I've had her for 2 years and she's never been bred before. 2, 4, 6, 8 eggs, maybe 3 more. So we have maybe a total of 11 eggs. And actually, let me get my gloves on before I typically like when I'm pulling the eggs out to have gloves on so there's no bacteria getting on them. It doesn't need to be on there. Her first clutch, they all look good. I'll have to check them for veins, which we'll do later. I'll need to kind of peel them apart because they're a little too close together. But I'll show you the difference between kind of an egg that's already been laid and one that was just laid, like just kind of right now. Come up here a little closer to the camera. Now this egg here in this hand, you can see it's a little more firm. It has a kind of more uniformity to it. And this one here is really soft. If you can see, I'm pushing on one side and the other side of it's kind of popping up. Whereas this side, it's just firm all around. This one's really soft. It kind of looks like a jelly bean. And so that's a brand new egg that was just laid. I can even, you're not going to be able to see it, but I can actually see the veins through the actual egg here too, which you usually can't do once the eggs are kind of hardened up. So I'm going to actually separate these eggs. I'm going to candle them as well. The nice thing about getting these eggs when they're fresh is they peel off very well. These ones are the older ones. This must have been the first couple ones she laid because they are a little tighter together. A trick that I saw, I don't remember where I saw it on YouTube. I'm sure it's going around. It's probably an older trick. Is actually get some, unflavored plain dental floss and kind of slide it between the eggs, which looked to me like it was probably the safest way to do this. Now, I have never had issues tearing eggs doing it this way. So, at some point I'm sure I'll get the dental floss and try that, but I've never had issue doing it like this, so I don't know how important it is to actually do it that way. But I guess the first time I tear an egg, I'll probably change my mind. But I haven't done it yet, so fingers crossed and knock on wood. But basically, when you're ripping these guys apart, if you need to, and you don't have to, it's just easier if you get a bad egg to be able to remove it now or later, and to not all have all of the eggs already connected together. If you find a bad egg and you're able to pull it out of there, instead of having to peel the eggs apart when they're like stuck. Because usually when these eggs are fresh, they're at least a couple hours old, and they're stuck together, they're still pretty easy to peel apart. Now, when you do peel them apart, you do sort of, I don't know if you're going to pick it up on the camera. It does peel off like the outer layer a little bit of the egg, whereas this is what the egg looks like, and this is where it looks like where I peeled it. That natural adhesive does peel a little bit, and that's why you need to be careful when you're peeling them apart so you don't actually tear the egg open. But usually, what I do is just kind of pull it that direction, get my finger in there a little bit to make sure the egg's not tearing, kind of rock it the other way. These three are stuck together, so I'll peel this way. So those two are apart. I'll peel that way and pull it apart. You also want to make sure you're leaving the eggs right side up, usually, unless the eggs are rolled around. Mommy snake does a good job of leaving them right side up, so you want to make sure that you're kind of leaving them that direction as well. So I think right now there are 3 more I think in her that she still needs to lay. So what I'm going to do for right now is get these guys in the incubator and let them start cooking that way after I candle them. And I'll pull the other 3 eggs out after I see that she lays them. What you want to do when you think they're done laying is kind of take the snake and kind of run your fingers up underneath her belly to make sure you don't feel any more lumps in there, that would signify that they're eggs. But I'm really happy about this clutch. There's potentially 11 eggs. Hopefully all of them are good. That means I'm going to have a huge clutch of blue-eyed Lucy's. This will be an interesting clutch because both parents are blue-eyed Lucy's, but as you can see from her, she's a Mystic Crystal, which is a Mystic gene and the Special gene, and he is a Purple Passion, which is a Phantom and a Mojave. So we do not have any lesser in here like I did in my last blue-eyed Lucy clutch. So I don't think any of these babies should come out all white. Most of them should have a pretty decent amount of pattern. So I'm kind of excited to see, what we can get, especially with Tesla bringing Blackhead and Leopard into the mix, to see if that kind of messes with the patterns at all. And with the large amount of eggs that we have, that should give us a kind of a good look at, what can these genes do in blue-eyed Lucy's. Blue-eyed Lucy's were kind of my first love with ball pythons. And there's not a whole lot of experimentation to do when you're using lesser, because lesser or butter typically just make the snake all white and you really don't see a whole lot. But there is, I think there's some experimentation to do with the other genes, when you're adding in things that aren't in a blue-eyed Lucy gene pool. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not making a huge project out of it, but I have, Princess, I still have to go at some point, hopefully, and I'm going to keep Snow White Snake around too, and just breed them all. People love blue-eyed Lucy's and they sell pretty easily, and they're beautiful. They're one of the coolest snakes you can get at a lower end price compared to what some other ones cost. So I'm going to get these eggs put away. What I usually do is I get some press and seal. I'm going to candle these before I put them away too, just to make sure the embryos are right side up. But you get some press and seal, put that on top. Typically, what I do on the lid here, if that'll show up, we'll stand a light, is I put the year, what number clutch it is, what date it was laid, when it's due to hatch. I'll put the pairing that I had, and then I'll put how many eggs that looked to be good out of that pairing. Hopefully I get to write down 11 on this, and then my first clutch will be huge, and I'll go a long way into filling up my rack starting at the beginning of the season. So these will be due at the beginning of March, and they should be ready for sale as soon as spring rolls around, which is good. That's when the temperatures start popping back up. It'll be easier to ship and safer to ship at that point. So I'm going to get these candled, get them put away, wait for her to lay the rest of the eggs, and then we are off and cooking in the 2022 season. Thank you guys for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.